January 1944. A freezing dawn near Monte Cassino, Italy. Snow drifts across a shattered monastery. The ground trembles, not from artillery, but from something deeper. A low mechanical hum crawling up from the valley below. German Major Karl von Reiner peers through his binoculars, his breath misting in the cold. Down there, moving across the churned mud, are fresh American convoys. Hundreds of trucks, tanks and supply vehicles, all new. Tires without mud, armor without rust, engines purring like clockwork. Von Reiner can't believe what he's seeing. Just 3 days earlier, his unit had smashed an Allied advance, destroying dozens of Shermans and burning fuel depots to ash. Yet here they are again, an entire replacement force, rolling forward as if nothing had happened. He mutters under his breath, "Unmöglich, this is impossible." But it wasn't impossible. It was Detroit. It was Pittsburgh. It was every American factory that had turned its smokestacks into the beating lungs of war. What Reiner didn't yet know, what few German officers could comprehend, was that while Germany struggled to replace a single tank lost in battle, the United States could build 10 before breakfast. The thunder he hears in the distance. That's not artillery. That's industry. The story of that thunder begins thousands of miles away, not on a battlefield, but in the heart of America's industrial empire. Detroit, Michigan. 1942. The city never sleeps. Sparks fly from welding torches, cranes groan under the weight of new armor plates, and the smell of hot oil and metal fills the air. Inside the Ford River Rouge plant, men and women, farmers' sons, factory workers, housewives, move in a rhythm that feels almost military. Every 63 minutes, a brand new B-24 Liberator bomber rolls off the line. Every 55 minutes, another Sherman tank clanks toward the rail yard. And by dawn, entire freight trains are already screaming east, loaded with enough firepower to replace an army division. This was the new kind of warfare, not fought only by soldiers but by workers. Henry Ford had once revolutionized the automobile. Now his engineers had turned that same production magic toward war. Assembly lines that once built cars now built tanks. Typewriter factories now churned out machine guns. And in California, a young woman named Rosie riveted the wings of a bomber faster than anyone had thought possible. For the Allies, it wasn't just about courage or tactics anymore. It was about capacity, because in total war, the side that can build faster wins. In Berlin, German officers studied intelligence reports from the Western Front. They saw photographs of Allied depots overflowing with supplies, stacked shells, spare engines, endless rows of jeeps. One general scoffed, calling it American wastefulness. But another, more honest man, whispered what everyone secretly feared. If they can replace what we destroy overnight, how long before we run out of breath? August 1944, northern France. The German army is retreating. Roads are clogged with exhausted soldiers, broken tanks and horse-drawn carts, the last fragments of a mechanized army that has forgotten how to move. From the air, American reconnaissance pilots radio back reports that sound almost unbelievable. Convoys stretching for miles. German vehicles abandoned not from battle, but from fuel starvation. The Luftwaffe is all but gone, and the thunder of Allied armor echoes day and night. In a field tent near Falaise, Colonel Ernst Huber stares at a captured American supply manifest. It's not just the volume, it's the speed. He traces the dates, his brow furrowed. In a single week, the US Army had replaced nearly everything lost in the Normandy breakout. Tanks, half-tracks, field guns, even uniforms. Huber's adjutant mutters, "It can't be true." But Huber knows it is. He has seen the crates himself, stamped with names he'd never heard before. General Motors, Studebaker, Chrysler Defense. The factories of America are fighting the war just as fiercely as any frontline division. He thinks of the Reich's own production lines. Cities shattered by bombing, workers starving, rail lines splintered. The once mighty German industry now limps on, scavenging spare parts and salvaging burned-out wrecks. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, a different world hums with light. Women in overalls walk out of factories at dawn, laughing and covered in grease. Engineers test new designs on weekends. In a single month, the US builds more vehicles than Germany can in a year. For Huber, the realization is slow and devastating. The Reich isn't losing the war on the battlefield. It's losing it in the foundries, the shipyards, the assembly lines. He folds the American manifest carefully and slides it into his coat. "Gentlemen," he says quietly to his staff, "we are fighting a nation that manufactures miracles." December 1944. The Ardennes forest. Snow falls in thick, silent sheets over the pines. The Battle of the Bulge is underway, Hitler's last desperate gamble to break the Western Front. German panzers surge forward under the cover of fog, cutting through American lines and capturing vital fuel dumps. For a brief, shining moment, it seems as if the impossible might happen. A reversal, a turning of fate. Colonel Joachim Peiper's armored column pushes deep into Allied territory. His men cheer as they seize a convoy of American gasoline trucks, 50,000 gallons of precious fuel. Finally, their tanks can move again, but within hours, radio intercepts bring a chilling truth. US reinforcements are already on the move. Thousands of fresh troops, hundreds of new Shermans, convoys of food, ammunition, and fuel rolling in from depots across France. Peiper realizes that the victory is hollow. For every American tank he burns, 3 more are already crossing the Channel. For every soldier he kills, 5 more are boarding ships in New York. By the time his column runs dry, surrounded and stranded in the snow, the tide has already turned. American forces counterattack with a force so overwhelming it feels like the earth itself has decided to fight back. In Berlin, reports of the failed offensive arrive days later. His generals speak in careful tones, but deep down, they all understand what Peiper now knows. Germany can still fight battles, but America is fighting wars of replacement. When a factory in Michigan produces as much firepower in a week as the Reich can in a month, defeat isn't a question of courage. It's a question of time. March 1945, near the Rhine River. The war is almost over, but the men on the ground don't know it yet. German Major Karl von Reiner, the same officer who once watched new American convoys roll endlessly toward Monte Cassino, now stands amid the wreckage of his final command post. The air smells of diesel and dust. Allied aircraft prowl overhead. The distant rumble of their engines a constant reminder of the power above. His unit has no radio contact, no reinforcements, no fuel. The last panzer in his company hasn't moved in 2 days. Then over the ridge he sees them again, the same endless column of American machines. Trucks, half-tracks, tanks, thousands of them. They stretch across the horizon like a moving city. Reiner lowers his field glasses. For the first time there is no anger, no disbelief, only silence. He understands now. This is not an army in the traditional sense. It is an industrial organism, alive, self-sustaining, tireless. Later, captured and sent to a POW camp in France, Reiner sits across from an American logistics officer. Curious, he asks how long it takes to replace a destroyed Sherman. The officer smiles. "Depends," he says. "A week if the rail's clear, sometimes less." Reiner laughs, not in mockery but in awe. He thinks of the foundries glowing through the night, the rail lines snaking across continents, the workers hammering and welding beneath the hum of machinery. A nation where every citizen, man, woman, child, has become part of a single unstoppable weapon. And in that moment he realizes the truth that few in the Reich ever dared speak aloud. Germany's downfall wasn't written in the trenches, but in the blueprints of American factories. Where the Reich built machines by the dozens, America built them by the thousands. Where Hitler demanded miracles, Roosevelt manufactured them. Reiner closes his eyes as night falls over the camp. Somewhere far away, another ship is leaving New York Harbor, loaded with supplies for a war that's already won. He whispers to himself, "They replaced armies, as if war were just another line of production."